Gator Dave, welcome in for our first ever Group of Six breakdown here in 2026, talking AAC football. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, Mike. I'm good. How about you?
I can't complain. I can't. 1 week closer to football, baby. 1 week closer.
We are. We are. This is what our fifth show of 2026 college football season. Only a couple of weeks left. August 27th, Thursday night. 2 weeks from tomorrow, Mike. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we have football. So, want to remind everybody we're Bet's Utopia, your number one location for all things sports betting. I'm Gator Day. That's Miami Mike. Don't forget our live shows Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Podcast, grab them anytime after tonight at probably about 9:30 tonight. So you can grab that podcast on Spotify, Apple, or any of your favorite podcast locations. Also, please like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you know when us crazy guys are online. So tonight, like Mike said, we're going to look at the AAC and the Mountain West. The first look into the group of six. We haven't done it before. We thought we'd give them a chance. We'll see. We're not going to. It's not like we're going to just tear it up, but we'll give you an idea of who we like, where we think they're going to finish, and a little tidbit along the way. So, as we look here, Mike, at the American Athletic Conference, I kind of give a little bit of an intro. They're trying to move to be called the American Conference. They're going to take the
I
athletic
got it. I
out,
gotta
but
say, I think that's probably a good idea.
yeah, because it doesn't flow, does it? Doesn't flow. So they enter 2026. What they're saying, from what I read, the premier G6 conference in the country, Mike, fresh off Tulane football playoff run last year. They won the championship 34-21 against North Texas State at Ullman Stadium last December, and then jumped in there to the college football playoff, and then came to the Gators. So we were the lucky winners, as well as American Conference getting a little notoriety. So, Mike, I think should we roll right in here and start with Army? Starting with the A's,
Let's do
Mike?
it. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right,
get it
here we
rolling.
go. Here we go. Army Black Knights, and I'm gonna throw out what I think they finish at in terms of their total record, not just in conference, but the total record. I'm thinking 7-5, Mike. I look at this team. I got Jeff Monken's 13th season. This guy's been with Army. He's got that Army math right. Come up with a good offensive line full of seniors. Um, he's got center Brady Small and tackle Teddy Williams back as seniors this year. So that's where it starts with an Army team that likes to run the ball. However, Army has to replace almost every contributor from last year's unit. How quickly they move on. But it is Army, and we know they make it happen. So we know they're going to run the ball. They only returned 55% of their production from last year, which is a little below average. Some are getting higher up in the 60s. They have a power ranking of 78, Mike, which is pretty decent. It's not in the hundreds like some of the other conferences we'll talk about. So their power rating is 78. Talent is like 138, and there's only like 140 teams. So talent could be an issue. Strength of schedule, 82nd. It's actually a little tougher than some of the other teams. So that's why I think they're gonna be in that mid range in terms of where they end up and go 7-5. Mike, what do you think?
You're gonna love this conference, Dave. You're gonna think I'm probably crazy. I got Army going 10-2. I know. There's a couple more, so just buckle your seatbelt here a little bit. Jeff Monken, head coach. I got total faith in him. I think he's a great head coach. I think he's going to be able to rally his guys and get them going. one of the things that's interesting about the armed forces teams, Army, Navy, Air Force, that we're going to talk about tonight, you don't really know who they have coming in as freshmen just due to the military academy policy and whatnot. So until they show up for camp, kind of get going, kind of going blind in on the freshmen a little bit. But I will tell you, they have a guy at running back with probably one of the best names in college football, God's Power Wawihi. Okay? Remember the name. He is going to put on a show this year for this Army team. I got them competing for the AAC Conference Championship and finishing number 2 in the conference at 10-2.
Wow. Well, with that running back, I don't see how they lose with God's power.
I'm saying.
Next up, we got the Charlotte 49ers, Mike. Mike, it's going to be a rough year over there in North Carolina. I got Charlotte 49ers going 1-11, Mike. It begins with that roster, okay? They're operating quite near the bottom of the conference in total measurables. Defense returns almost no one from a unit that was the worst in 2025. So worst to worst gets you one win. They return only 53% of their total production. Power ranking, Mike, 134 out of 140. Not too good. Talent, 110th. Strength of schedule, 78, which is a little bit harder than some. So it's going to be a rough year over there in North Carolina for the Charlotte 49ers at 1-11. What do you got?
I also have them at 1-11. We are right on the same page there. It's a tough schedule. They could maybe get 2 wins, I think, but this is one of the least experienced teams in the entire nation this year. I just don't think they're going to have enough. Head coach coming in, if I remember right, I think it's like the 3rd guy in 4 years. So a little bit of up and down in terms of stability down there in Charlotte. I do think they had some guys coming in that could be a key asset next year for this Charlotte 49er team, but not this year. It's going to be pretty rough once again for those Charlotte fans. I also got them at 1-11 and at the bottom of the AAC.
All right. Hey, let's shout out to several feet below my lovely wife in the chat giving us the go dogs. We got Hindu giving the go dogs. We got Ian Gleason rocking in, and my buddy Jan Gertz from
Welcome in.
So welcome in, folks. Appreciate you coming to visit. So you guys chat it up over there and let us know what you think. So next up, Mike. All right, I have the East Carolina Pirates. And, Mike, if you remember, God rest her soul, this is my mom's university. And, Mike, I'm going out on a limb and giving this one the winner of the American Conference and go 9-3 in Pirate Land. So, Blake Harrell, the coach, 3rd year, brings in a complete roster. Granted, they lost their QB, but they got a decent backup. Obviously they got to start the year off in Bryant-Denny Stadium playing against Alabama, but schedule's okay after that. The quarterback situation, the Caden Hauser kid went to Illinois. We'll see where that goes. Right now, the replacement, Mike, familiar name, my friend, Emory Williams, transfer from Miami. Likely could be the backup. Could be the starter, as he's been the backup the last 3 years.
Put some respect on my guy's name.
Yeah,
come on, Dave.
I'll give you respect to your guy, man. So he's been a backup for 3 years. About time he got a starting job, and it's going to be with the East Carolina Pirates. They return 55% of the production. Power ranking 61st, not too bad. Talent 89th, again, not in the hundreds like you're about to hear later. And strength of schedule 95th, which is quite favorable for them. So that's why, Mike, I'm gonna put some pizza money on this one for East Carolina to win the American at 9-3. Mike, what do you think?
I'm actually going to raise you here. I'm going to go 10-2 for this East Carolina team. I got them tied for the first spot, but they're going to be third overall in the conference. I'm a believer in Emory Williams. He just didn't really get his opportunity down there in Miami. Not really because he doesn't have it, but because there were other quarterbacks that were brought in through the portal, such as a Cam Ward, such as a Carson Beck. When you have those guys coming in, it's a little bit hard to get some PT. So he made the change to East Carolina. He took with him also Ray Joseph, one of our wide receivers. Got super speed. Again, another one of those guys that just sort of got bumped down the depth chart, but not because he doesn't have talent, just there was too much talent around him. I think this East Carolina team, based off of the schedule that they have, extremely favorable for them to have a great season. I do think they finished double digits. If you look at the schedule, really the two toughest games, outside of Alabama week 1 is going to be at Memphis October 22nd and at Army November 21st. And Army's going to be coming off a bye week there. If they can get by both of those teams with a win, I actually have them losing to Army in that one. You're looking at a team that could potentially get into that playoff spot as the group of 6 team. So I'm pretty high on this East Carolina team. I just think they got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing for them. And, the sky's the limit for the Pirates.
Awesome. I like it.
Shout out to Mama Guerin.
That's right. My lovely mom. All right. Next up, we've got Florida Atlantic Owls, Mike. I got the Owls this year. First of all, they're opening against my Gators. So I have got the Owls going 6-6. So quarterback is Caden Veltkamp. He's been around a bit. We've heard that name before. He missed significant time during the spring, but he's recovering from a shoulder injury. Problem is they had 22 turnovers as a team last year, so a little bit to worry about there. FAU, I think they could do okay. If they get their stuff together and this guy does well, could do better than the 6-6 I have them at. They do return 71% of their production, Mike, which is pretty darn good. Anything in the high 60s to 70s is pretty good, especially in these lower group of 5 teams. So 71% production returning. Their power rating is 86, talent at 96, and strength of schedule at 83rd. So again, Mike, I got him going 6-6 and getting into a bowl.
Yeah, I got them 5-7. I have them just missing that bowl game that you're talking about there. I think Veltkamp, the quarterback you mentioned from Western Kentucky, he's going to be a big asset to this offense, but I do not think he's going to be able to do enough to carry this team into a bowl game. When you look at this Owl team, they have really struggled over the last 8-9 years or so. Only one winning season outside of 2020, where they finished 5-4 over the last 8 years. I don't expect them to get another one this year. I think they do go that 5-7 and miss that bowl game, really just because of the schedule. They got some tough away games. You mentioned the Swamp to open up. Then they get Navy at home. They got to go to Army, to North Texas, play UTSA, play USF, finish the season at East Carolina. I just think it's going to be too much of an uphill battle for them. I think they're maybe a year or two out from getting some guys through the transfer portal. With this transfer portal and the NIL stuff and everything else, you're going to see a lot of these group of 6 teams really start to build on some talent because that depth is going to get pushed out. Perfect example we talked about a few weeks ago with the SEC squad in Texas and what Steve Sarkisian was saying in terms of guys that they had to let go of in order to bring talent in. It wasn't because those guys they let go of weren't talented. There's just other talent out there that they think is a better fit. So those guys are going to have to fall down to other schools where they may not have been able to recruit those guys straight out of high school as blue chippers. So you're going to see that trickle down to these other group of 6 conferences, and you're going to see some of these conferences have a couple of teams, top 3, top 4, top 5 teams in the conference, which are really kind of standalone and competing for playoffs. But then you're going to have that bottom tier, which we're going to get to shortly, and they are going to have some rough years ahead. So something to definitely keep out for in this transfer portal NIL era. But I do have the Owls missing the bowl game this year and going 5-7.
Yeah, Mike, I'm with you on that in terms of the turnover in the group of 6. They are going to turn their best players over, and then have room for those players that maybe weren't getting playing time or got
I
pushed
mean,
out
it's
at other
tough.
schools.
It's
And
tough.
and
Even
and it's
even
just
when you
like,
have
if you
those.
think about
Yeah,
it,
go ahead.
I almost think of it in terms of how you guys have done the last year or two, and then you look at like Georgia, how
Mm-hmm.
you know haven't got a ton out of the portal, but you've cherry picked the right players that have made a difference and spent the
Yeah.
money there. So that's what these guys are doing. They're going to cherry pick. They're going to get those guys that are rolling out of the big schools, and
Yeah.
grab 2 or 3 of those and add them to a roster in the group of 6. They can make a huge difference on the team. So,
Yeah.
but it's just they've got to get used to how that turnover is going to happen. And what you can see is that returning productivity that we're talking about here. If you go to if we're talking about the SEC, that number will be 70, can get up to 80. Whereas these poor
Right.
guys, most of them are in the 50s. They're
Yeah.
losing half their good folks. So it's just a matter of getting that cadence of what I'm going to do and doing a good job. Now, I know where you're going to go is there are teams that are on the bottom of the pile that have no money, and they're just going to, and we'll talk about some of those as I've done the research with this group of 6. I mean, the experts out there talk about these teams that they just don't have the money. Now, I'm
Yep.
not going to don't want to talk too much about Florida State, but we can in terms of the money situation there. Sometimes is they don't quite have the money because they're paying a coach so much. But and that's what's going to happen is these poor teams
Yeah.
that are on the bottom. It's just going to be that way, and they're not going to be able to afford it like bottom of the big
But
leagues.
so perfect example, right, is another team in this conference that we'll talk about here shortly, but Tulane. This is one of those situations where you have a guy show out. It's almost like an audition. You got Darian Mensah, the quarterback, right? Shows out at Tulane, ends up transferring to Duke. Now he's at Miami. It's all about money. When you have a team such as Miami, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, these teams that are pouring 30 million, 35 million, 40 million into building their rosters, it makes it near impossible for these group of 6 teams to be able to retain the talent that they've brought in. It's almost like a minor league situation for baseball. It's or a JUCO situation, how it was back in the day before all this NIL and transfer portal. It's really an opportunity for them to go out, prove what they have with the offers that were available to them, and then go get paid. So it's going to make it extremely hard for some of these programs that aren't getting those big donor monies, that don't have those big NIL groups bringing in the cash from boosters and season ticket holders and things like that, to really be able to retain that talent to be able to compete year in and year out. So you're going to see a lot of teams that have a great year one year, and then there's a significant fall off, the next year. And there's going to be another team in this conference that's going to be a perfect example of that we'll talk about here shortly.
All right, very good. I do want to shout out to Evelyn. Thanks for joining our regular programming. Thanks there, Evelyn, coming at us every time. So next we got Dave's alma mater. We got the Memphis Tigers coming in. I have the Memphis Tigers coming in 8-4. First thing I got to start off with is the coach. And remember last year, the year before, when Charlie Huff went from Marshall to Southern Miss, how I was all excited. I go, man, I like this guy. And now my team has this guy. Now, it is Memphis, and it is a rebuild, and they got to get a lot of transfers in, so we'll see how they do. But they are one of those teams in this conference that has a little bit of money backing them. So quarterback room is still quite unsettled. However, we've got some names in there. So we've got this kid Air Nolan who was up at Ohio State, touted as a stud player. He's a Florida kid, and I know at one time Florida was looking that way. So he is going to be at Memphis. Then we've got another kid named Marcus Stokes. This was another Florida kid that Florida actually had committed, and he did a stupid thing, made a mistake as a young kid, actually in high school, that made Florida go, well, maybe not. So, but the kid has torn it up in Division II. So I look for Marcus Stokes to be the quarterback that comes in at Memphis and does a good job. He had some great numbers at the Division school that he was in down there in Florida. So look for Stokes to take the reins there. Tigers only return 55% of their production, Mike. Their talent rank is 69%, is number 69, which is pretty decent, and strength of schedule 86. I think Memphis is going to be a step behind the Pirates. So I'm going to give them 8-4, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I got this Memphis team at 9-3. So I'm going to raise you up there again. Charles Huff, I think he's the biggest difference in this. He brought a lot of guys from Southern Miss. A lot of guys when he went to Southern Miss, he brought in from Marshall. He's just looking for the best opportunity, and I think he's found one in his best opportunity yet here at Memphis. Like you mentioned, he was able to bring in Marcus Stokes. Not a huge fan of his off the field conduct, but the guy can throw the football. Down there at West Florida for the Argonauts, they were a fresh program. He has led them. They're now talking about maybe moving up to D1 here sooner than later, believe it or not. And then you mentioned Aaron Nolan, the guy that sort of hopped around a little bit at Ohio State. I think he was even at South Carolina last year. Now he's at Memphis. It's going to be between those two guys for the starting quarterback role. The thing that I tend to lean towards the most as well is when you have one of these programs that are bringing in a lot of transfer guys, new coach coming in, what does the trenches look like? What kind of hogs do we have, down there in the trenches? And on the offensive side of the ball, they got a lot of upperclassmen with a lot of experience, a lot of starts under their belt. 4 seniors out of the 5 on the line. They're going to be ready to go. I think this team's going to be motivated. Not really getting a whole lot of credit up here up front, which I think is going to be exactly what Charles Huff wants. Go ahead and put that chip on the shoulder. He got some guys on his team that are looking to prove some haters wrong. And I think they'll probably have a chance to do that. And I got them competing here in the AAC this year. So I got them at 9-3, 4th in the conference.
All right. Very good. I like it. Next up, we got to say hi to Mr. Steel City Scott that's in the chat. Thanks for coming aboard. Navy midshipman next, Mike. I've got the Navy midshipman going 7-5. Quarterback, the Coach Brian Newberry's been a consistent G6 program. I think things are going to be tested a little bit this year. He lost his stud quarterback, and a lot of the players that were on that team before, their returning production is 55%, which isn't real great. A lot to replace on both sides of the ball. Braxton Woodson steps into his first full season as the quarterback, calling plays back there. It'll be a wait and see, but they do have I guess a recipe that seems to always work, right? And that's why I think they're going to end up with that 7-5. Their power ranking is 65th. Talent is only 137, Mike. But when you talk about these teams with, the way they run that offense, I don't know if talent means quite as much. Strength of schedule 79th, so it's a little bit tougher than some. They play some really good teams in there too. Thus thus the 7-5. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'm gonna raise you again. I got Navy at 8-4 this year. Biggest thing for me is their defense. They're returning their three leading tacklers on that side of the football, so they're retaining their leadership there. But you mentioned it, Blake Horvath, their quarterback, no longer there. He accounted for 28 of their offense's 50 total touchdowns last year. Of those 22 other touchdowns that were obtained, only 6 are returning to this team this year. So they lose their entire offensive production. I don't know if they're going to have enough on that side of the football to win the amount of games that they're going to need to be able to reach that playoff spot, that championship spot here in this conference. So I do have them at 8-4. I think they're going to compete, shock some folks, but I think there's some games that they're going to lose that they probably shouldn't. So I got them at 8-4, fifth in the conference.
All right, very good. So let's go to a team that did quite well in the conference last year, North Texas Mean Green. So the North Texas Mean Green are depleted. I don't think they're going to be quite as mean as last year, Mike. I got them at 6-6, just for good measure. So obviously they lost their coach. I believe he went to Oklahoma State, took a stud quarterback and a stud running back. A team that won 11 games last year. Neil Brown inherits this roster. Most of the production on this team, boom, went to Oklahoma State. They do have 57% back, which is about average for the conference. Quarterback's going to be Tavian Jackson. He's got experience joining the system. The running back, Jaheim White, also experience from West Virginia. We've talked about him before. He had a knee injury, out most of 2025. Those are two little tidbits that should help this team have a mid-range record that'll get them in a bowl. Their power ranking is 91st, talent at 93rd, and strength of schedule at 81st. So I got them making a bowl there at 6-6. Mike, what do you think?
I think that is extremely generous. When I was talking about the teams earlier that have been gutted, this is one of them. I have them at 3-9. I do not think that Neil Brown is going to come in there and turn this ship around quite yet here in the first year. I do like him as a head coach. He had a lot of success at Troy. Kind of got the bad end of the stick there at West Virginia for a few years. Taven Jackson, bringing him in is it's going to be a good fit for sure, but with him being a senior, you can't really build on that too much. And the problem for this team is, you mentioned it, they've been gutted. They did not really retain anybody from last year's team, and last year was basically the best season that they've had ever in a long time. I mean, they won double digits, winning record. Really hard to match that. Last year was their first winning season on the road in 10 years. Okay? This North Texas team has significantly struggled in the past. Matter of fact, I'll raise you. In the last 10 years, they've only had 3 winning seasons, period. So I think they unfortunately get a bad end of the stick here. They open at Indiana, going to get beat up pretty bad in that one. Then they play UNLV at home. They got to go on the road to Navy, on the road to UTSA, on the road to Tulane. I just think it's going to be too much for this team this year. I think once Neil Brown kind of gets his feet settled, goes back into that transfer portal, poaches a few guys from those Power 4 squads here next year, maybe recruits a couple guys out of Texas, I think that they could get back into a bowl game, but I do not think it's going to happen this year for the Mean Green. So I got them at 3-9, second to last here in the conference, just above Charlotte.
All right. Speaking of second to last, we have the Rice Owls, Mike. I have them going 3-9.
Oof.
The problem here is Rice's academic standards, limited portal access. This is one of those teams that just, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to survive the portal NIL era. They might need to just take a step back. They do have Ja'Curry Brown from UCF at the helm. Yeah, and before that, right at U, right, he was riding the pine with the other kid. But should be a good fit for Rice. Um, we'll see how he does. I mean, he's been real inconsistent over time, so I don't know how it's going to be. It's a big name for us, obviously, because he's been in Florida, at Miami, and UCF. So they only return 53% of their production. Their power ranking is 128 out of 140. Talent ranking 104. Strength of schedule 69, which makes those other numbers just horrible. I mean, it's almost the worst schedule of this group. So they're in trouble. 3-9 if they're lucky. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I got them at 4-8. I unfortunately for Ja'Curry Brown, I'm right there with you. Their schedule is brutal. They got to go to Notre Dame, to Fresno State, UTSA at home, at East Carolina, at North Texas, Army at home, at Temple, at FAU. I just don't see it happening. They got to go 8 straight also to start the season before they get their first bye week. So I think Ja'Carry's going to get pretty beat up. You mentioned his inconsistency over the past. I think he's going to have some success here in this conference, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't know if he has enough guys around him to kind of really have the success that he's looking for. So I'm with you. I got him at 4 wins, missing a bowl game.
All right. Next up, South Florida Bulls. So, Mike, I think they got a good coach in Brian Hartline.
Yeah.
So I've got them going 8-4 and being competitive. Obviously their roster is, they lost some guys, but they still have some guys there. Their returning production, Mike, will surprise you at 66%, which isn't too bad. But Hartline coming in, coaching this season. Obviously, he was the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He's got an offensive line that's ranked in the top 2 in the G6. He's got a receiver in a Kenny Odom and another receiver in Modia Rubin, who are really good targets, especially in the G6. They kept hold of those guys. I think the offensive productivity is going to be pretty well. So let's look at a couple other things. The question right now is quarterback. You've got Michael Van Buren and Luke Kromenhoek, who was at FSU for a while, but he is now at South Florida. Defense, front 7, a little light on production. Pass rush is going to be unproven, all new guys. Again, they return 66 of their productivity. Power rank is 65th, talent at 63, which those numbers look pretty good. And then you've got the strength of schedule at 96, which is going to help them. That's why I've got them going 8-4. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I got them 8-4 also. I'm right there with you. I think this team is going to compete. I think they're going to surprise some people. Brian Hartline, it'll be interesting to see how he does as a head coach. Obviously, he's been the wide receiver coach at Ohio State now for the last few years, but this guy is a recruiter, flat out. He knows how to recruit South Florida from his Miami Dolphin days. He knows how to get through to those kids. He is the guy who brought Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, nothing but blue chippers. Chris Henry, even, who's about to be at Ohio State now. I mean, nothing but blue chippers through that Ohio State. Why Ohio State is now considered by some to be wide receiver U. He is a huge, huge part of that. I think once he's given the opportunity and the time to be at USF, he's going to hit the portal hard. He's going to hit the recruiting trail hard. South Florida is in the process of building their first on campus stadium. They have been playing at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium before then. Stadium looks beautiful. It's going to make a huge difference in recruiting as well. I love the quarterbacks that he brought in also. Michael Van Buren. Again, these guys have a chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove, and these coaches know that. Michael Van Buren, you mentioned Luke Croman-Hoke, who originally was at Florida State, went to Mississippi State, didn't really get the opportunity that he was looking for. Michael Van Buren was at Oklahoma, went down to LSU, same sort of situation. So these guys got something to prove. Offensive line, you got 4 seniors out of the 5 again, so a lot of experience there. Defensive line, 4 seniors on that side of the ball. I think this team is going to be ready to compete. I just don't know if they're going to be at that level to compete for the conference championship this year. But next year and beyond, look out. I think Brian Hartline is going to be able to put a roster together down there in Tampa.
Totally agree in that regard, Mike. I think it's a great choice for USF for sure. So,
Yep.
and he has done a great job with receivers up there at Ohio State. So, all right, next up we're gonna have the Temple Owls, Mike. I got Temple Owls middle of the road. I got them at 6-6. Casey Keller is second year. He comes into a situation where he's got a quarterback coming in from Jackson Smolik from Penn State. Didn't see any, if at all, playing time up there, but they've got somebody that they feel strongly about, and in that area up there, so that obviously is going to help some things. So they're looking for something there. They got tight end Peter Clark, All-American in the conference last year, one of the top rated players in the AAC. It's going to give somebody to throw out to for a good safety valve. They return 55% of their production, which is meh. They got a power rating of 98, which isn't all that. Talent rank of 84th, and a strength of schedule of 93rd, Mike. So I think they're going to keep it on the even keel and go with 6 wins and sneak into a bowl.
Yeah, I got them missing a bowl. I think it's going to be tough sledding for this Temple Owl team this year. I got them at 4-8, and really it's because of their schedule. They did slightly get a favorable situation where they only have 5 away games this year, but I got them going just 1-4 in those away games. They got to go at Toledo in a non-conference matchup, at South Florida, who we just mentioned, at East Carolina, at Navy, and then to wrap it up at the end of the year, they got to go to Memphis. They also have to play Army at home, Penn State at home. I just don't think there's going to be enough on this team to really compete the way that they want to this year. I like the head coach. I think given the opportunity, he could do some good things if he's given the time and the chance. This is his second year here. He struggled a little bit last year going 5-7. But also, this is a team that if you're a Temple Owl fan, I'm sorry, but you kind of got to check your expectations at the door a little bit. They have really struggled over the last 5-6 seasons or so without a winning record. If they can find a way to get bowl eligible this year, I think that's a huge, huge win, and they should throw an extension to this coach's way because I think it's going to be a really, really uphill battle here for the team out of Philadelphia.
All right. Shall we move on to the Tulane Green Wave? I'm going to have to give a little shout out, a little tip of the cap here to my current coach's ex-team. I have the Tulane Green Wave coming in at 7-5. Mike, defending conference champions last year. They have promoted Will Hall to the head coaching position, or he came actually from Southern Miss as a coordinator there. Not the same credentials as they've looked at in the past. It was really kind of a weird hire, and how they brought him in, and the fact that they let a coach go or they lost a coach that had come in from Troy before that had done really well. So this one's a little questionable in terms of the hire. It's going to be interesting year. Obviously, very thin on the O line. They're going to have issues on the pass rush. They've lost all those guys. They did retain 60% of their production. The one cool thing about Summerall was that he only brought like 3 players from that team at Tulane, which I respect him for. He brought the kicker, he brought the punter, and one other guy. And the kicker is already on the Luke Garza list, so obviously made a good choice there. So not bringing those guys was good. The other thing that I felt real good about was he didn't bring the team coaches or
I mean, I'd hope
coordinators
not.
with the exception he did bring the offensive coordinator to be the quarterback's coach. So that's what he brought from the leadership team, and I think he brought the strength and conditioning guy. But everybody else are left alone. We talked about this before, and I'm tooting my horn again. But the fact that dude didn't bring his boys with him from group of 6, because one thing I noticed, Mike, when I was looking at the information, we were doing the research, our buddy from Auburn, Mike, he brought about 75% of his staff up to Auburn. So I'm going to go ahead and call that one. Call that one now, Mike. A win for the Gators on the Plains there at Auburn. I'm
I mean,
calling
yeah.
that game now, Mike, and I'm calling that a Gator Dave lock with
Oh, wow.
Florida beating Auburn on the Plains, baby. All right. So that's enough of that. So Tulane Green Wave, Mike. Sorry, I got
Focus, Dave.
sidetracked.
Focus.
I'm sorry. Again, 61% of the production returning, power ranking of 71, talent ranking of 80, and a strength to schedule 85th. Not too bad. Gives them that 7-5 record. What do you think, Mike?
I think it's real easy for Summerall to go, yeah, I don't want to mess up where I just came from and seem like the good guy rather than go, yeah, y'all aren't good enough to come down here and play in Gainesville for my Gators. Sorry, I don't want to leave y'all in a bad position. Let me just take the kicker and the punt. No, I think it's 100% wordsmith stuff right there. Yeah, it's a chess game for sure, but I don't think that, that says more to me about what he knew he had at Tulane and how they overcame expectations last year, or how they did when he was there and he made the best of what he had around him. And I think it says a lot that he didn't take a few more guys to Gainesville. So I know you mentioned 60% of the production coming back. I don't think it's going to be enough to really make a huge difference anywhere near close to the success that they had last year. I got them making a bowl game. I got them going 6-6. But that's really about it. I got to see what this new head coach is going to be doing with this squad, what he does with this talent base that he has around him, to really see what they got going on. But I think that is more telling about the talent that was there versus the talent that he knows he could get once he went to Gainesville in terms of coaching, players, the whole nine. So I'm not too high on this Tulane team. We'll see if they prove me wrong, but I have them making a bowl game, but going under that 7-win total.
The only reason I'm bringing up Mike is that and we talked about this, the previous guys, and who they brought in. Sling Blade brought in all his boys from the Louisiana.
Well, you gotta
Dan
give your
Mullen
guys a
brought in all
chance.
his.
They wouldn't have got that opportunity without those
I
guys
know,
around
but
them.
it
So
was
I
wrong.
see it.
It was wrong.
You never know.
Wrong. So, all right.
It's a very situational situation, Dave. Very situational.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, but I'm with you. Thank you, Mike. All right, next up, another place I've lived, Mike. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 3 years. So we got the
did know
Tulsa
that.
Golden Hurricanes. Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. I think they're going to do okay this year, Mike. I got them at 8-4. Not sure what the what DraftKings has them at. But so they got running back Taquan Jones, substantial upgrade. This kid came over from Old Dominion. This is the third or fourth player that I've seen coming from Old Dominion. I know we talked about the quarterback and where he went. I can't remember who he was, but this guy rushed for 792 yards and 6 TDs. He's going to be running back for the Tulsa Hurricanes. The offensive line returns 4 starters, which is awesome. They return a conference leading, Mike, get this, 77% of their production from 2025. Thus, a power ranking of 67th, a talent ranking of 88th, and an easy damn schedule, 104th. So I got the Canes from Oklahoma going 8-4. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, the Canes from Oklahoma are going to miss a bowl game. I got them going 5-7. This is one of those teams that historically, over the last 10 years, has extremely struggled. They have not had a winning season on the road in 10 years. And guess what? In order to compete in college football, where usually half of your games are on the road, you got to win there. That's kind of part of it. So something to note of this team, 29-29 at home the last 10 years, just 17-41 when playing on the road. Last 3 years, for example, they are just 4-13 when playing on the road. This is a team that struggles. This is a team that does not have a whole lot of depth or experience on their roster. A lot of guys that they've brought in from other Group of 6 programs. I'm just not sold on them. On top of that, schedule, not the easiest. Oklahoma State, at Arkansas, at Navy, Army at home, at Tulane, at UTSA to round it all out. I just think it's going to be too much of an uphill battle here for the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, excuse me. And I do have them going below that 6-win DraftKings total and missing a bowl game.
All right. Interesting, sir. Next up, we've got the fabulous UAB Blazers, University of Alabama, Birmingham. I got them going 4-8, Mike. So this is Alex Mortenson's second year at the helm. And guess what? He brings in a trump card, Mike, a defensive coordinator with SEC experience that all of us at Georgia and Florida just love. The infamous Todd Grantham will be running the defense at UAB. 3rd and Grantham. Just remember that. So the problem here, and we talked about money, the institutional investment in football at UAB is not good, and not good in the American. And this is a problem. This is why this team, they jumped up into big boy land, a few years ago, and now everybody was all excited about it. UAB is going into the, big boy league, but I'm not sure it's going to work out. They don't want to spend the money now, so it's going to be a problem. They do return 61% of their production. Their power ranking, Mike, 125. Not good. Talent, 100. Strength of schedule, 91, which brings me to the 4-8. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, you mentioned the lack of support in the financial department for this program and some of the other athletics at UAB. I mean, they didn't even have a team 10 years ago. They brought the program back. Last 9 years, they've actually been pretty good at home, 39-12 at home, but on the road, just 18-37, only bringing back 4 starters here to this squad. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think they're really going to struggle. You mentioned Todd Grantham at defensive coordinator. I know how much of a huge fan you are of his. But they got to go to Illinois, part of their non-conference schedule. They got to go to Louisiana. Navy at home, at Memphis, East Carolina at home, at South Florida, UTSA at home. I think this team is going to get absolutely whopped. I will say, if they can feature the left side of their offensive line, they may have some success. They got some big boys over there on the left side of that offensive line. Peyton Kirkland, the left tackle, former blue chipper, one of the top offensive linemen in the country. Florida was after him. Miami was after him. He ended up at Texas. Didn't do anything. Went to Colorado last year. Didn't even play. He is at UAB, and he is a tank. 6'6", 366 pounds. Their left guard, 6'5", 350 pounds. So they got some hogs down there, but they ain't got enough of them. So, yeah, I'm with you. I got UAB going 4-8, missing a bowl game yet again.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up, Mike, for, this the name of this team. I like the name of this team, maybe because when I was a kid, and I had to warn it was a little before you, a couple
Hey,
years
they're bringing it back. They're bringing it back.
A couple of years. Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote, he's coming back.
And the Roadrunner, man, he was like one of my favorite cartoons, dude. So I love the name and how it flows, the whole UTSA.
It is a real animal also, Dave, just as a side note.
It is, in fact. It's not, doesn't have a purple head and all that other stuff, but, it is a real animal. It doesn't look anything like beep, beep, the Roadrunner did, but love that name. Love San Antonio. I spent a couple of days there one time, and the Riverwalk, all that cool stuff. But UTSA, one to look out for. And I'm betting you've got them higher than me, because I seem to be flowing with DraftKings, but not that I even looked at that. But UTSA Roadrunners, I've got 8-4, Mike. Jeff Traylor, like the coach. He's got one of the most complete rosters. Might be the best quarterback in the conference in Nolan McCown. One of the best in the G6. But he's had some issues with injuries. Sports hernias kept him out, and wondering, is he going to get in there this fall or not? So we've got some question marks there, which aren't going to help things. Now, defense, total rebuild. They've stocked up on portal additions, which should help them. They have returned 65% of their production from 2025. Talent, 97th. Power at 73rd, and then strength of schedule 76. So they got one of the toughest schedules in the American at 76, but still going to be tough. But I've got them at 8-4, Mike. I'd be willing to bet you're going higher. What do you think?
I am going higher. You are exactly right. This is my number one team in the AAC.
I knew it.
I got him at 10-2. Owen McCown coming back at quarterback. Had a great year last year for him. 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They got a lot of returning production in the running back room as well. For me, it's Jeff Traylor, their head coach. I love him a lot. This is his 7th season here at UTSA. I think it has a really good chance to be his last as well. I could definitely see him moving on to one of those Power 4 conference teams after this season. I think they're going to have a lot of success. When you look at what he's done at UTSA, up until last year's final game at home against Army, he was 21-0 in conference home games. Not too shabby. It's a tough place to play. They play in a dome down there. They get absolutely rowdy. Very similar to a North Dakota State type team that we're going to talk about here shortly when we go into the Mountain West. But I love this UTSA roster. 5 seniors on the offensive line, six seniors in their front 7, a couple in the backside on the D back side as well in the secondary. I think this team's got something to prove. Their schedule also very formidable when you break it down. I mean, they got to go play Texas, obviously. They get Navy at home. Past that, I mean, they really don't play anybody. So, as long as this UTSA team can kind of stay on track, stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit for them, and you're looking at a team that could potentially get into that group of 6 playoff spot when it's all said and done.
All right. Very good. Well, Mike, we're going to call that a wrap on the American and move over to the Mountain West Conference. All right.
Yeah. Before we do that, Dave. Before we do that, let me leave that recap up for just. Let me leave that recap up for just 1 second as well for our viewers at home.
Okay. Let's do that.
And let me go ahead and get a shout out in there for old Shop CYA. Okay, check them out. ShopCYA.com. Get those assets covered, people. Get those assets covered. When you go into any of these games that we're talking about this year, you're going to have a clear plastic bag. It's going to have all your goodies, all your giblets, all your goblets in there. You don't want people seeing that when you go through the security line. So you snap off the cover, go through security, make sure they check it all out, and then when you're walking around the stadium, you just snap it right back on. You're fully covered. Assets are fully covered, so nobody can see your credit card, license, any of the other items that you want to keep private to yourself. Make sure to check them out. They are fully licensed. They have almost every college football Division I team now, so definitely go check them out. Let them know that we sent you. Also, little birdie told me, Dave, we're gonna have some bags, some new products coming to highlight here on the show here in the future. So keep an eye out for that. They're always upgrading, always adding new things into the repertoire. So make sure to check them out up top here at shopcya.com.
All right. Very good. ShopCYA.com. Listen to Mike. All right. Now, here we go. Mountain West Conference. Okay, so here's my intro on Mountain West. The last 20 years almost, everything in the Mountain West ran through the blue turf.
That's right.
Boise State and everyone else. Well, guess what? Boise State ain't in the Mountain West anymore. Okay? They're over in the Pac-12, really the freaking Pac-8. So
State 8.
2026, we got the reboot. Okay? 5 programs headed out. We got Boise, we got Colorado State, we got San Diego State, we got Fresno State, and we got Utah State. Bye-bye. Okay? Replacing them, which I'm excited about, North Dakota State from the FCS, Northern Illinois, and UTEP from Conference USA. Obviously, the North Dakota State, we put them first because that's the marquee name coming into into the Mountain West. The other two I'm a little concerned about because they've been doormats of their previous conferences. But that's the big changes for the Mountain West this year, Mike. So it's going to be interesting. So here's what we got. We're starting with the Air Force Falcons, Mike. Mike, I'm going to go a respectable 8-4 here for the Air Force Falcons. Troy Calhoun's option coming rolling back in after, with 20 years experience. His quarterback, Liam Shark guy, he's a real running threat. He had 13 touchdowns last year running the ball. He's back last year. He fractured his forearm in November, but he's back and ready to go. However, we got to replace 8 starters on that offense, so that's going to be interesting. But I kind of look at the at these the teams, the armed force teams, as like replace and reload. That's just how they are. No one. And Mike alluded to it early. You don't know the names until they're freaking sophomores or juniors. But replace and reload. All right. Defense returns 4 returning linebackers. Secondary, they're ranked 135th last year, Mike, and could continue to be a problem. So that's one of the concerns I have in terms of that defense. So they do return 58% of their total production from last year. Power ranking is 103. Man, we're getting in the hundreds now, by the way. Um, and the talent 136, and that's out of 140. Strength of schedule 115, which helps them. So, Mike, again, I'm going to go 8-4 because of Calhoun, 20 years, and quarterback coming back and just making shit happen, man. What do you think?
I do think they're going to make some shit happen, and hold on to your seat here, Dave. I am going to go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid quickly. I got Air Force as my number one coming out of the Mountain West here, playing in the championship game at 10-2. Troy Calhoun, 20th year. You mentioned it. 8 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball. By the way, those 8 guys are 8 out of their top 9 tacklers on the defensive side of the ball. So they got a lot of experience coming back on that side. 8 returning starters, experienced offensive line. They got 4 seniors up front. I think this team is going to do some things. They had some tough losses last year, a couple one-score games that they blew late last year. You know, one against Navy, one against Army. I actually think that they are going to win the Commanders Cup this year. I have them sweeping both Navy and Army to help them get to that 10-2 record. If you look at their schedule, you mentioned some of the teams that are coming into the Mountain West now: Northern Illinois, North Dakota State, UTEP. Some of those teams, maybe not North Dakota State, are a little bit easier than others. It's going to be a layup. It's going to be an opportunity, especially for some of these schools that are running this triple option offense. When these schools have not seen that before, and you do not have a lot of time in between weeks, in between games to prepare for that, it could be a problem. I think as long as this Air Force team stays healthy, they are going to be able to win some tough games. And I think they are 100% going to be competing in this Mountain West Conference. And I do have them playing in that Mountain West Conference championship game at the end of the year when it's all said and done. Give me the Falcons to go 10-2 in Calhoun's 20th year there.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Lucky 20 for Coach Calhoun. So, all right, next up, we got another team I like, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, and our buddy coach, and what's his name? Tommy Chang, ex-quarterback of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I got this team going 8-4, Mike. Rainbow Warriors went from 5 wins to 9 wins pretty dang quick. And they got a quarterback, Alejadu, Micah, first name, throwing at 60%. That has a lot to do with that. And I like Tommy Chang. So, thus the 8 wins for the Rainbow Warriors. Cam Barfield, running back is makes shit happen. 3 returning offensive linemen. Overall, however, 51% of their production returning, which is not the greatest, one of the lower ends in terms of the conference. Their power rating is 89th, talent 125th. Strength of schedule helps them at 114 plus. Everybody sucks trying to go to Hawaii and play in a game. And we've got new teams going to have to play that stuff. So give me Tommy Chang, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, and 8-4, Mike. What do you think?
I got them at 5-7. I got them missing a bowl game. I will say on the defensive side of the ball, I do like the experience that they're bringing there. 10 out of their 11 projected starters are seniors. The problem is, I don't think they're so talented. And I may eat those words, but man, they have a tough schedule. Their schedule maker did not do them any favors here. They got to open at Stanford, UNLV, At Wyoming, that altitude is always a problem. We'll talk about them here shortly. San Jose State at home, but San Jose State's off a bye. New Mexico at home, but they're off a bye. They got to go to Tempe and play Arizona State. They got to go all the way from Hawaii to Northern Illinois, which we're going to talk about that team here in a little bit. Neither one of us are too high on them, but that is quite the journey, especially when it's late October. You never know what you're going to get there in Illinois with the weather. North Dakota State at home. North Dakota State's going to be off a bye. I just think it's going to be too much. You mentioned the quarterback and how he played last year. I think he went above and beyond. I think he exceeded expectations. Over 3,000 yards passing, 66% completion percentage, 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I think it's going to be hard sledding for him to replicate that this year against some of these teams. So I do have them at 5-7. They could sneak into a bowl game for sure if they're able to catch one of those teams slipping, going down to Hawaii and looking at that beautiful water and weather. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle here for the Rainbow Warriors. So I got them at 5-7.
All righty. Next up, we got the Nevada Wolfpack. All right. So what do we have here, Mike? I've got 4-7 for the pack. The numbers are unkind. Lowest preseason power rating in the league. Okay, 138 out of 140. An offense that lived in the FBS basement last fall. Just digging that hole. Defense lost a lot. They did keep Dylan LaBarbera, the conference's top player. He's a DN, 87 tackles, 6.5 sacks. But one man cannot win a ton of games. They return only 51% of their production. Again, we talked about power ranking of 138, talent 121, strength of schedule 108. Give me Nevada Wolfpack at 4-8, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I got them at 3-9. You talked about their returning starters, 6 returning starters on a team that went just 3-9 last year. They had some struggles at the quarterback position, went out and got a kid, Luke Duncan from UCLA, who was a backup there. I just think it's one of those situations where Nevada is, they're going to have some issues at the front end of their schedule. I think they find a way to get it done week 1 against Western Kentucky at home. But then after that, they got to play Montana State, the FCS championship winner from last year. And I have a strange feeling, Dave, that Montana State may win that one outright. And I think after that, that confidence is going to be shot for the Wolfpack. You look at this team over the last 10 years, they are 48-73 overall, 30-29 at home, 15-41 on the road. I just don't think they have enough talent around them to really compete in this conference at all or make a bowl game. They got to go to North Dakota State, to UCLA, New Mexico at home, at UNLV, Air Force at home. I just don't think it's going to be enough here for Nevada. So I as well have them missing a bowl game and going below that 4-win DraftKings total at 3-9.
All righty then. Let's look next to New Mexico. I didn't put the name of the team, but Mike, that's the Lobos, right?
The Lobos.
Lobos. Oh, it's another. Oh, all right. So I have the Lobos. Oh, going 8-4, Mike. 8-4. The most returning starters in the league. Defense should be best in conference. Offense had some turnover. They lost running back Scotty Humphrey. They do have 4 offensive linemen returning, and a UNLV transfer on the O-line to the receiving group. So that should help. on that side of the ball. They returned 66% of the production from 2025. Power ranking, Mike, 58. That might be. I'll go back through. But that might be top in this conference. Talent 113, strength of schedule 99th. So give me them Lobos at 8-4, sir.
Yeah, I got him at 9-3. I got him at fourth in the conference. Head coach Jason Eck in his second year here. He's actually got a son on the team, Dave, and he's a good one. First team Mountain West Conference last year. He had over 125 total tackles for this defense. He is the key guy on defense for them, and they will rely on him heavily. My issue for this squad is going to be their quarterback play. Jack Lane is back. He's a senior. He's going to be their quarterback again this year. He had 13 starts last year, just 13 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with an offense that did not retain too much talent in the receiving room as it is, let alone the running back room. Don't really know what we're going to get from this team. I think the defense is going to be able to win them some games that maybe they shouldn't, or keep it close enough to find a way to win. But I got them at 9-3, just outside of that Mountain West championship playoff picture.
All righty then. Speaking of championship picture, for me, we shall look at the North Dakota State team. And you know what? I don't even have what's their mascot, Mike?
They're the Bison. Yeah. The Bison.
Bisons?
The Bison. Bison.
Bison? What the frick's a bison? Is it like a bison similar to a buffalo, my friend? All right, Mike. Come on, bro.
That's the Dakota flair. They're Bison.
Okay. All right. Bison. The North Dakota State Bisons, as we say in North Dakota. Mike, I have this team rolling in after 5 FCS titles in 10 years. Oh, there it is for the Bisons. And guess what? Rule change took effect, so they can go to a bowl this year, Mike. I have the Bisons going 9-3, Mike. Okay. Their one Achilles heel is quarterback Nathan Hayes, total unknown. So it's going to be one of those. They returned 67% of the production from last year. Power rating of 68. Talent at 135. Strength of schedule 127. So I think they're going to do okay coming into this interesting new Mountain West, Mike. What do you think, my friend?
I think they're going to do more than okay, Dave. I got them at 10-2 as well. I got them going second here in the Mountain West Conference and facing those Air Force Falcons in the Mountain West championship game. I don't think that they're going to have any drop-off moving from the FCS to the FBS. This team is built to win, and all they do at home is win. Their away games, very formidable. They got Sacramento State, at Hawaii, at San Jose State, to just name a few. They get Wyoming at home, UTEP, Northern Illinois, Nevada, Fordham, Jacksonville State. I mean, their schedule this year, I think they're going to have absolutely no problem with. I think they could easily find that 10-win total, if not go undefeated and potentially sneak into that 12th spot as a playoff contender. And we'll talk more about that next week when we talk about our final playoff predictions, final top 25, Heisman stuff. So look forward to that one. But yeah, I think the Bison are for real. I think they're going to come right into the FBS and be one of those teams very similar to a James Madison, for example, that comes in and absolutely steamrolls some of these teams. So get ready for the Bison to step on the national circuit and the national level. They are real. They are a real problem in this Mountain West team. And you mentioned Boise State on their way out and the dominant force that they were in the Mountain West Conference for years and years and years. This is probably going to be that team when it's all said and done
Bison replacement.
that replaces them
Bison's gonna replace.
at that top consistent spot here in the Mountain West. I like this team a lot. I think they're going to be ready to roll.
All right. Very, very cool. All right. Next up, we're about on a string of some big.
This is about just as far as the opposite as you could go from that last squad that we just talked.
We're rolling with about three uglies. So here's where we're going. We're going to Northern Illinois. Granted, these teams are going to have to fly a few hours, to get out there to Northern Illinois. So we got to worry about that. But Mike, I got the Northern Illinois Huskies at 3-9. Mike, 3-9. New league for the Huskies. New coach. Bob Harley steps in from being a coordinator because the whole staff went to the NFL. So he's inheriting an offense that was among the worst anywhere. Ouch. Defense was a little bit better. And they did add a dude. At one time, dude was a 5-star. Mississippi Valley State, James Bradley, rolling in. And they also got a kid, Cole Snead, that's supposed to be pretty good. So they'll have 2 players on a team of 100 people. So they should do well, right? They return a blazing 46% of their talent from last year, which might be a good thing because they sucked last year. Their power ranking, Mike, 132 out of 140. Talent is 110. Strength of schedule, 93rd. They gonna suck. Northern Illinois Huskies at 3-9.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and raise you there, Dave. We're gonna go 2-10 for those Northern Illinois Huskies. I think it's gonna be an extremely uphill battle for them making the transition into the Mountain West. 0 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball. They do not have a very easy schedule, unfortunately, for these Huskies as well. They got to go to Iowa and play the Hawkeyes week 1. Week 3, they got to go all the way out to Arizona and play the Wildcats there. Go down and play the Sun Belt team and the Georgia State Panthers. Air Force at home off a bye. At Wyoming in that altitude like I talked about before. At UNLV when UNLV's coming off a bye. At San Jose State all the way across the country out there in Cali. And then, oh yeah, by the way, the team we just talked about, North Dakota State, they're going to get to host Northern Illinois at home. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle here for the Huskies, and unfortunately, I think their losing ways sort of continue. Also, slight note here, their head coach, Rob Harley, here in his first year with the squad, 0 past head coaching experience, so we shall see what he does with this opportunity. But yeah, I got them going below the DraftKings total of 3 and finishing 2-10 on the year in the bottom of the Mountain West.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next up, San Jose State Spartans. Not the Michigan State Spartans, but the San Jose State Spartans. Mike, I got them at 4-8. They returned the what? Oh shoot! Excuse me.
You're good.
What?
You're good. I will say I'm gonna. No, you.
It's a team that plays the extra game.
It is.
My bad.
So San Jose State, they are playing 13 games this year because there is a rule that I'm gonna be transparent. I found about today. I did not know this existed, but it is called the Hawaii exemption rule. So for teams that travel to Hawaii, they are given the opportunity to play an extra game in order to recoup the costs that it takes to go to and from Hawaii, which again is one of the, it kind of ties back to what we've been talking about tonight on this show in terms of finances for these group of 6 teams. They don't have a lot of them. So this is actually the only team in the Mountain West Conference that is taking advantage of this rule this year, but they are playing 13 games compared to the normal 12.
All right. Well, thanks for the reminder there, Mike. And oh, by the way, you can get a flight from freaking San Francisco or Sacramento over to Hawaii for about freaking $300. Granted, the
Hey,
hotels will cost you a bit more.
so you should make a donation, Dave. Get those Spartans
It's,
there.
it's, oh yeah. I'm right on that. So, all right. So here's the cool thing about these Spartans. So, least production returning in the not just this conference, Mike, the whole FBS, 140 teams, they're last, returning 35%. Only 2 offensive linemen are back to protect their starter, Luke Weaver. Okay. It's the proverbial shit show, Mike. Power ranking 131, talent ranking 119, strength of schedule 91. Boom, they suck 4-9. I'm going under that DraftKings silliness.
I'm going over. I'm going 6-7. I think that they are going
Oh,
to
man,
benefit
you're all over the
from
place,
that
dude.
extra game. All right. Well, let me break it down for you here, Dave. Let's talk some of these wins. They're going to win against Eastern Michigan. They're going to win against Cal Poly. They're going to win at Hawaii. They're going to win at home against Wyoming. They're going to go to El Paso and play that UTEP team, which we will talk about here shortly. They're going to win that one. And then they got Northern Illinois at home to get them that 6th win and get them bowl eligible. The main reason here that I have faith in this San Jose State team is their head coach. Former Navy guy, he was there forever. I think he's going to be able to find a way to bring this squad together, get the most out of them, and get them into that bowl game. Again, I think that when you look at who they're bringing back overall, returning starters, right? They got only 3, and that's on both sides of the ball total. 3 returning starters. However, you know I'm big on experience. On the defensive side of the ball, 10 of their 11 projected starters are seniors. For a lot of those guys, this is going to be the last opportunity that they have to play football. They are going to lay it all out on the line. I have faith that the Spartans will find a way to beat those teams that I just gave you and find a way to get to 6-7. Go Spartans. Also, San Jose State, expect a donation here from Gator Dave soon. We're going to get you to Hawaii. Don't you worry.
No. Not going to happen, Mike. Not going to happen. So, next up. Ooh, well, you know what? I did some interesting math here.
Ah,
Shut. Hold on. Minor setback. Paste. Done. Next team. UNLV. Running Rebels. So last year this team was 10-3. Mike, this year the Fighting Dan Mullins will be 10-2, and they will win this conference this year. Mullen at the controls again in his second year. Remember, he lost to Boise State, Mountain West final last year. He lost his quarterback, Anthony Calandria, who threw for 3,500 yards. He's now gone away. Bye-bye. He doesn't have him. Now he has grabbed an SEC Auburn transfer, Jackson Arnold. He seems to grab these cases that fit. And I'm telling you, shit'll happen. This is the best X's and O's dude out there. I know he sucked as the CEO of the Florida Gators, but man, He could run a damn offense. He's got his running back, Jaden Thomas, 1,000 yards, 12 TDs. He's got 6 of his top 10 recruits from the recent class. He's got 5 of the top, and this is within this conference. 6 of the top 10 recruits in this conference, Mullen got. He got 5 of the top portal players, top 10 portal players in this conference. He's got 40% of the snaps coming back this year. He did. The team's won 30 games in the last 3 years. 10 wins is the mark every year. They don't have Boise State. Granted, they got North Dakota State in there, and Mike talked about them. But I'm telling you, it's an easy one for me. I mean, I can't believe they've only got him at 8. But I got him at 10. So winning the conference. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, UNLV has definitely had success over the last 4 years or so. They have had 4 straight winning seasons at home, but those are the only 4 that they've had in the last 10 years. Some of that being the recruiting aspect. Now they get to play in that nice Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders do on Sundays. They get it for Saturdays. Speaking of winning records, they've had 3 straight on the road winning records. Again, the only 3 that they've had in the last 10 years. And that was under Dan Mullen for one of them, obviously, and Barry Odom before that, who is now the head coach at Purdue. He had him for 2 years. There's been some success at UNLV. I could see why you're high on your boy Dan Mullen. I'm not so sure Jackson Arnold is even going to be the starting quarterback for this team. They still got Alex Orji, the guy that they got from Michigan last year. Apparently, he's having a great camp. His issue was always with turning the ball over, sort of similar to Jackson Arnold. So at the end of the day, I think he's got a little bit of an islands of misfit toys there in the quarterback room. But if anybody's going to max out the potential in a quarterback situation, it's probably going to be Dan Mullen. My issue for this squad is some of the games that they got to play. All right. They got to go to Hawaii. Always tricky. A little bit of distraction down there. They open up with Memphis at home. That one's going to be tricky. They got to play California, the Golden Bears from the ACC. We talked about them a few weeks back. We're really high on that quarterback. They get them at home as well. North Dakota State, they got to play them at home. They got to go to Colorado Springs and play those Air Force Falcons that we were talking about. They got to go to New Mexico and play the Lobos, who, like you said, one of the higher power ratings maybe in the entire conference. So I think there's a few games that if you look historically at what Dan Mullen has done against teams that he should beat, they sometimes come in a little complacent. And sometimes they fall asleep and get behind or lose games that they shouldn't. I think that's going to bite UNLV in the rear here a little bit this year. So I have them at 9-3, still over the DraftKings Kings win total, but just on the outskirts of the Mountain West Championship game, finishing 3rd in the conference.
All righty. Next up, let's go back in the dumpster. We're going to UTEP Miners. UTEP Miners, I have them at 3-9. I'll blow right through this. The offense, total makeover, got a new coordinator, placing a bunch of guys. Defense will be its strength. Solid line. Linebacker Jaden Wilson leading all the returners. Secondary, they got a couple kids back there, Justin Content and Xavier Smith at safety that should be backing it up back there. But it's only a couple of guys on that D. They do return 61% of their production. Power ranking, however, only 125. Talent at 76. Strength of schedule, a little tough for this league, 79. So I got them UTEP Miners going at 3-9, so I'm right there with DraftKings. What do you think, Mike?
I got them at 3-9 as well. You mentioned the schedule that they got. They got to go to Oklahoma, to Michigan, Oregon State at home, on the road at New Mexico, on the road at North Dakota State, Wyoming at home, on the road against Air Force. I think it's going to be too much for this squad. You mentioned 61% of the production coming back, but when the team was 2-10 last year, maybe you want a little
Yeah.
bit of less.
This,
Maybe you want a little bit less coming back. This team has historically been bad over the
garbage.
last 10 years. They
Garbage.
are
Hot garbage.
29-88 total over the last 10 years. Just 19-36 at home in El Paso and 10-51 on the road. 10-51 in away games. This is the head coach's third year here. His first 2 seasons, he went a combined 5-19. I do not see this team getting over the 3-win mark. I'm with you. I have them exactly at 3-9 and down there towards the bottom of this Mountain West Conference.
All right, let's wrap it up with them Wyoming Cowboys. So Mike talked about playing up there in the altitude of Wyoming. Obviously that's going to get them something, right? I got them something at 6-6. Not sure where DraftKings is, but altitude's obviously the one thing that's going to help them. But they'll need every bit of that altitude. Defense, probably a little steadier than the offense. But the rebuild is totally from scratch from FCS portal help. They got a new face at QB, Tyler Hughes, a mobile William and Mary transfer, who won the job in the spring. They returned 56% of their production from last year, power ranking of 116, talent of 109. The good thing is strength of schedule is 111, so it should be a little easy on them. So I'm going with DraftKings, and Mike, I'm going to say 6-6, sir.
Yeah, I got this Wyoming team at 7-5, so just over that DraftKings win total. You mentioned Tyler Hughes coming in from William and Mary, 3,000 total yards last year for him, 20 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think he's going to be a big reason, along with that altitude that we keep talking about, for the reason that Wyoming is able to get not only bowl eligible, but just slightly better. They only have 5 returning starters on both sides of the football combined, 2 on defense, 3 on offense. But when you look at their schedule, it's pretty formidable. You know, they do have to go to North Dakota State, to Colorado State to open it up, and to UNLV. But they do get to face that UNLV team off a bye later on in the year. They get New Mexico at home, Air Force at home, Connecticut at home, Hawaii at home. I think those are all games that they could and should win. And then they got a couple other easier road games, you know, at UTEP, at Central Michigan, also Northern Colorado at home. So I think this is a team that definitely should be able to reach that 6-win mark and get to a bowl game once again. And I do have them doing just a little bit past that and going 7-5 here to wrap up the Mountain West Conference.
All righty then. The new and improved and slung around Mountain West. All right, so that's
right.
going to be a wrap, folks. So a couple of things. Tomorrow night, we're going to do Conference USA and Pac-12. Correct, Miguel?
Correct.
And of course, it's the Pac-8 now, right? And we're going to be live at 9 p.m. to do those two. We're shooting for Friday night to wrap the group of 6 up with the MAC and the Sun Belt on Friday night. We'll give you guys, we'll try to hone in the time approximate time on Friday night to wrap up this group of six. But we appreciate everybody that was in the chat. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate your comments. Thanks to everyone that joined us tonight, have joined us, are going to join us, are going to hear us on the podcast. We appreciate all that. And, hopefully we gave you some good information on the first couple of group of six teams. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. You said it all. So we will see y'all. A little bonus couple shows this week. We're going live again, like Dave said, tomorrow night at 9 to talk those two more conferences. And then again, Friday night, we're talking another two. Next Wednesday, we will be talking our final top 25 playoff predictions, Heisman predictions. So make sure to tune into that if you are a futures wagerer. Remember to gamble responsibly. Check down in the bio if you need anything helpline wise there. But other than that, yeah, Dave, I think it was a great show. I look forward to a little couple bonus opportunities here this week as we get closer and closer to week 0 and get this thing rolling.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couple of extra shows for the crews out there. So we appreciate again everybody jumping in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that
bell.
button
Hit
so
that
that you
bell.
know the
Hit that
big
bell.
bell. We
Also,
love
speaking
the
of
bell.
hitting that bell and subscribing, NFL show is coming soon with Steel City Scott. We're going to be breaking down the divisions and conferences here for the NFL here probably in the next week or so. So definitely make sure to check out and watch for those. Hopefully we'll be able to get you a better time and date over here the next few days. But NFL season is also right around the corner. First week of preseason officially starts tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that show as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that got on tonight. Thank you so much. We love you guys and appreciate you listening and tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow night, Mike.